7 tips for creating high-quality video content in the studio. Going through the steps to create high-quality video content may be a daunting task for beginners, but with a little bit of practice and the right motivation, the filming process can turn out to be a fun and productive experience. In this video, we'll show you how to make the most of your time in our studio. Keep in mind these 3 key factors to creating a successful video. First, the speaker's presentation design and on-camera skills. Secondly, the sound and video quality optimization. And lastly, relevant, meaningful content. Now let's move on to the tips. Tip number 1, choose a studio with professional lighting and sound. We start with this point because there is a plethora of video formats out there, from filming on interior sets, to screencasting, to lectures recording on a touchboard like this. So be sure to choose the right studio for your project goals. A studio with an interactive whiteboard like Jalinga is perfect for filming educational content. The speaker is better able to connect with the audience and make the material resonate with them more, and the additional interactions with the board help keep the viewer fully engaged. Screencasting is a simple and effective way to give tutorials on how to use any software, for example, Photoshop, or show how viewers can perform certain tasks on their computers at home. And if you have a large production team with a specific look in mind, you can book time in a place where you can alter the interior to match your precise specifications. Studio recording can be especially useful if you want to use chroma keying, or if you want to incorporate motion graphics into your presentation. Once you find a studio that matches your project requirements, gather as much information as possible about the necessary preparations for that specific studio to avoid any surprises on your first day of filming. Most studios offer a free demo hour, which is a valuable opportunity to check the quality of recording they offer and experiment to find out what the most convenient format will be for your personal content. Of course, it's always a good idea to have a backup plan in case of any emergency, such as technical difficulties or you find yourself running out of time. Tip number 2, get ready for filming. Take some time to consider the main concept of your video, what you're looking to convey to the viewer, and how the viewer's understanding of the world will change after watching your video. Of course, you should always find a way to outline your ideas. There's a wide array of tools that you can use to structure your thoughts, from Google Docs to mind maps. Here, using Jalinga software, you can even write notes as you go along. You can develop your script around the main goal, what you envision the purpose of your video to be, and make sure, of course, that it's neither too short or too long, and that it portrays the concept in a structured and orderly manner and has smooth and natural transitions between topics. Here, let's move on to the presentation itself. Don't focus on locking down a flawless design from the very first slide you make. Save time by modifying and editing your slides as you go along, so that you don't have to spend extra time reworking each one if your idea of a perfect format changes along the way. Start by having your slides reflect only a rough outline of what you want to include in your presentation. You can use Google Slides, Figma, or sticky notes. This way you get to see the whole picture and are able to quickly switch between slides as needed if you want to make changes to content or formatting. You can then add the finishing touches to your presentation. You can change them to use corporate colors, fonts, or unified logos. A few general tips here. One slide, one thought. Don't bog down one slide with separate or contrasting ideas. Also, don't copy and paste the same titles from the first slide every time. Just only use them whenever you introduce a new topic. Notice that tip number 2 has not been floating over my head for the past 6 slides that I've been talking about it. Also, try to use more pictures and less text. And don't overload the viewer. Reduce cognitive burden on them by keeping each slide to only 5 to 7 points at maximum. Tip number 3. Before you begin your filming, the next step is a must. Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. The filming process will be way too drawn out without it. Try recording your presentation with your smartphone. At home, switch your slideshow maker software to demo mode and go through your material multiple times. You can get used to being in front of a camera and repeat your content several times over. Also, be sure to share the recording with your friends and get their feedback. Ask whether the material is presented clearly or if something more should be added. Tip number 4. Let's move on to discussing how to create the best look for filming your content. Focus on your target audience and the dress code that would be most appropriate if you're meeting with them in real life, in person. Don't wear gingham or any striped clothing or clothes with text or brand names if they don't have any relevance to your topic. Your attire should be in tune with the background, not blend into it. Also, wear comfortable shoes and avoid excessive jewelry, especially pieces like bangles or large pendants that could brush up against the lapel mic or make noise when you move. Your look should complement the video's aesthetic, not overshadow the content of your presentation. Tip number 5. Decide if you want to read your text from the teleprompter. Well, why might that be a good idea? You might find it better if you, for example, have a very specific time constraint for your recording, or if the speaker is not an expert and can't comfortably ad-lib about the topic being discussed. Or maybe you want your speech to sound seamless and not deviate at all from what you've written out beforehand. The teleprompter text should contain only what you are going to say in the video. We also recommend writing out abbreviations in full, none of this, spelling out words and numbers, for example, no 3, but write it out like this, and also try to avoid any words that are difficult for you to pronounce. For example, I was trying to say the word railroad worker in a presentation a couple days ago. I still can't do it now, and I definitely could not do it then. So be sure to proofread your text beforehand and get out any tricky words. Tip number 6, make practical arrangements. Book a studio and distribute materials for filming well beforehand. Start with a 2-hour shoot. That way you can get an estimate of how long it takes you to record one video. From our experience, speakers at our studio would not recommend recording for more than 3 hours without taking some breaks in between, as it was difficult to maintain the correct emotional tone and energy otherwise. Tip number 7, think about exactly what you are offering to your audience. What is special or novel about your videos in comparison to similar ones that your viewers could find on the web? Do they have unique and powerful content? Do you have strategies to encourage high audience engagement? Do you refer viewers to additional resources? The content of your videos may be extensive, but viewers have short attention spans. Without attention grabbing or emotional features, there's a risk that your video won't be watched all the way to the end. Jalinga, however, allows the speaker not only to display images, but also interact with them. What cute cats! This helps focus the viewer's attention and gaze to exactly where you want it to be. The result is more interactive videos that will definitely stand out. So come visit us for a free demo tour of our studio and get a taste of the Jalinga magic. See you soon.